I've been involved in the community now for over 2 decades, third generation in the community, president of my block association that owns their own real estate in the community, president of the school board, vice president of the community board, graduate of the Civilian Police Academy. So I've been a public servant, literally working for the Department of Finance and in working in the community for over 2 decades. Solving the murder for Benny Lyde in the community. I'm the person people come to when they want things done. Yes, he was a progressive like myself in the community. A lot of times our district goes from Sunset Park, Park Slope, Gowanus, Crown Heights, Flatbush, East Flatbush, and Brownsville. And him being a police officer, many times people come to our office for assistance, be it police brutality, be it young people being murdered in Brownsville and throughout the district. So when people were running away from situations, we were usually going into buildings, into situations where others really didn't want to go. Well, I've been in the community over 2 decades. We were on the ground. We knocked on 30,000 doors. We made 25,000 telephone calls, and I knocked on doors every day. Through NYCHA Housing, I went from the roof to the basement in every building in NYCHA Developments. So we had a great on-the-ground campaign. We had 26 unions endorse us. We had every assemblyman except for one endorse us, city council. So it was basically a collaborative effort of all the elected officials just believing in me, and that's why we had such a large win ratio. We won with 69% of the vote. So it was a testament to our hard work over the years, and we're going to keep that momentum moving forward. We have mobile offices now. We go to senior centers. We go into schools. We go wherever people need us. In Sunset Park, we go Brownsville, East New York, Prospect Heights, Park Slope. We go into the communities. We don't want people coming to us. And we even make follow-up telephone calls. You know, how's everything going? You know, what are the issues? So we're issue-driven, and we're the first of a state senator that I know of that's doing mobile offices in the community. And that's what our intent is. Our intent is for us to get into the community rather than them coming to us. I was younger. My mother was active in the community, and my father was active in the community. My father was the chairman of the board for Lincoln Hospital. My mother opened up the first federal credit union in the South Bronx. So at a young age, I remember getting petitions, knocking on doors, going to the hospital with my father, him advocating for policy for people in the community who didn't have appropriate health care coverage in the community. So at a young age, I was introduced to political activism. My top priority is housing. We had the rent stabilization laws being looked at with the limit for destabilization. We had the 421A tax exemption that has to be looked at with the 80/20 that's no longer working. And also with Eric Garner, that's something that's really serious as far as having a special prosecutor when police shoot unarmed people. No one should be shot if they're unarmed. So there are a lot of issues in the community that we're looking at, but housing has to be one. Police brutality is another issue, and also job training for people in our community. Because right now, a lot of folks in my district can't afford to live where they grew up at, and it's not a color thing. It crosses all economic, racial, ethnic backgrounds. From Park Slope, people are being pushed out because of high rents into Prospect Heights. So those are some of the things that we'll be looking at. In education, there's a digital divide. With education, we don't have enough computers and technology. Maybe a lot of the teachers are intimidated by technology. And I'm truthful. My son may know more about technology than I do, and he's more inclined to help me out a lot of times. But we need more coding in the schools. We need more tablets for children, because by the time something is produced in a textbook and they come to the classroom on technology, it's outdated. We're living in a time where information is changing rapidly, and we have to change rapidly with education and with technology to make sure our children are competitive to compete in this new work environment. It's not an NYPD thing because this is resonating throughout the country. You have a prosecutor who depends on the police force to work together. You have a prosecutor that has to get reelected. every 2 or 4 years. And sometimes working with people, and it could be a conflict of interest. And to take that conflict of interest away from the prosecutor or the police department, who may want to protect their own, we need to have a special prosecutor throughout the state, throughout the country, really, for people who are innocently murdered or accidentally murdered or killed by police officers. Police officers do a great job. We need police officers. But if you have one bad police officer that takes a life, that's one life too many. So if we have protocols in place to say, look, if there's going to be a shooting, a murder of an unarmed person, that needs to be looked into. And then we can have more corrective policies put in place to prevent the next accidental shooting by a police officer. It's a dangerous job. At the end of the day, everybody wants to go home to see their family. But so we have to have more training, more sensitivity training to make sure that everybody can work together. I'm a graduate of the Civilian Police Academy from New York City, and I've driven to murder scenes, and it's a daunting task. A lot of people, everybody's scared walking to a situation where one has a gun. So we just have to make sure we have protocols in place where we don't take life immediately unless it's the last resort.